Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Eddie Marcus here again, spokesman and advocate of basic human rights for all people. Last night I listened to the DNC and I got a chance to hear several conversations from representatives of the Democratic Party, all in line to prompt Hillary Clinton up as the best human being in the United States to be the next president of the United States. I sat there, I observed this, and I listened to all these wonderful, wonderful speeches. And I listened to what must have been, or should I say, I watched what must have been thousands who were sitting there mesmerized. And I began to think to myself, most of them have no idea of the things that have been revealed about the Clintons, because they usually watch major TV networks and news stations, and they don't look at other media sources because they've been programmed to think that it's all about conspiracy theorists. Everything that isn't on the regular, normal level is a theory. And I sat there, I heard, and I watched. And the thought that came to my mind is, in the garden, when this snake, Lucifer, or Satan, or whatever you want to call it, was talking to Eve, Eve didn't stand a chance. When I looked at those people out there, all I saw were Eves. Just Eves. Eves. And I asked myself, how could that be? I mean, if you checked out other news sources, you would hear things said about the Clintons that, were they not true, everybody who said them would have been arrested. It'd been like Donald Trump. They'd have been sued out of this world. And the Clintons wouldn't have to get money for other reasons. They just sue people and reap all the money in the world, because everything has been said about them. And not only has it been said, in so many instances, they haven't refuted any of it. They just let it roll off their back like water on oil. And here these people are going crazy. And I'm thinking, Sigmund Freud and all those other psychoanalysts, they knew just how to pry people. There were people who were sitting there who spoke wonderful things about Miss Clinton. A few years ago, Barack Obama ran against her. He said some things about Miss Clinton to tell you that Miss Clinton wasn't worth being president compared to him. There were a gentleman in the audience by the name of Sanders who told millions of people and received millions of dollars from these people, saying Miss Clinton was no good. She was an established person, and for what the people really need, she was no good. And then all of a sudden, these same people who had said she was no good were saying that she was the best representative on the earth almost to take care of the business of the people. It sounds more or less like what they have been doing, and what they plan to do is to say that she is the best candidate to take care of the business of the secret government, because she was put up there by the secret government, not by the people. Donald Trump wasn't put up there by the people. He's put up there by the secret government. And one thing about it, on the Republican side, they said some ugly things about Donald Trump. Some of them just like the snake in the garden, or like Eve. They fell aside and they came back and stood up with him. And there were others who said that he was no good, and there was no way they were going to stand with him. Oh, but not the Democrats. They were all right there for Miss Clinton. For Miss Clinton. Even many of Sanders' support were weaving over to Miss Clinton. And Barack Obama made a fantastic speech, as he always does when he's speaking. I just sat there. And again, I thought, Eve did not stand a chance. And as I reflect back on the people as they sat there in that hall, they did not stand a chance. The reason they didn't stand a chance is because they have been programmed. And not only have they been programmed, they were researched, they were analyzed, and people who programmed them knew exactly how to play it. And they played it well. But I stand here today, ladies and gentlemen, because I'm convinced that this is a national crisis, an international crisis, a world crisis that is occurring presently. And because even though I know that the things I say to you mean nothing, I don't know if my color, if it's my face, if it's my age. I know when I look at the hundreds of videos that I put on YouTube and Facebook espousing these different realities to you, I see that maybe 2 or 3 of you have viewed it. And I can look at somebody who can do some of the dumbest things, and millions of you view it. So as my sister would say, and my wife, why don't I give it in? Well, I can't give it in because I have not been programmed on that vein. I've been programmed on a different vein. I was programmed that Barack Obama can't bring anything. We had 8 years to prove that as a Democrat and a man. I've been programmed to think, but the reality is that Bush, 8 years, Republican, didn't bring us anything. Not only that, every president since Eisenhower have made the same promises. And the only one came close to doing anything relative was John F. Kennedy, and it got a bullet. In fact, got half of his head shot off because he was going to do something. And since that time, no presidential candidate has ever espoused anything that was worth 15 cents. But I looked at my human being people, and they were mesmerized. And so they are going to go to these polls, and they are going to vote. Now, everybody knows Donald Trump's history. Not too many people believe that he's caring about anybody but himself. And he, if we're in office, would do some dumb things, for sure, as all the other presidents have done. But he might do something that would awake the American people. But what good is, after you awake the American people, they're destroyed. If you're going to destroy them, you might as well let them stay asleep. As my brother would say, if you're going to drop a bomb today, don't tell me about it yesterday or the day before. I don't want to worry. Just let it happen. And when it happened, I didn't know anything about it. I didn't have to worry about it. It was just done. That's a funny way of being, isn't it? Well, I guess it isn't if you can't stop it. But we, the people, are supposed to be able to stop it. Because we understand that this whole world belongs to the one that made it, and it wasn't a human being. The ability that this earth has in producing good materials and service materials that would adequately meet the needs of the people, that would guarantee them a sustained life. These didn't come from the people. It was provided by a power that created this earth. And yet the people were given a role to carry it forward, as if they were led by a spirit of that power that created them, or if they were led by a spirit of that lie that was given Eve. Well, as you looked at those people out there in that hall, and the same people over there with Donald Trump, as they were so mesmerized, none of them were even considering what the Maker had. It was their own selfish ambitions, their own selfish goals that meant everything to them. And as a result, you're going to get a demon to represent you. Don't you blame anybody. Don't you blame blacks. Don't you blame women. Don't you blame men. Don't you even blame the devil. It was you. Eve didn't stand a chance. You have rejected God, and you know what? Chances are you don't stand a chance. So what does this mean? This means that what is taking place right now is the moment when you can decide, do you want to live in peace, prosperity, and joy, with all of your dreams being met as though you're living in heaven or paradise? Well, I know even if you on the other side, you still want to live this way. You just believe that the way to achieve this is to